The sky above Varric 7 was burning. Flames danced in the atmosphere as alien ships fell from orbit. The peaceful colony had never seen war before. For centuries, the people of Varex lived quietly, farming the rich blue soil and trading crystals, mined from their moon. But now they were running from the Varnuk. The Varnuk were not interested in peace. They were raiders, destroyers. They wanted resources, power, and blood. And Varric 7 was small, unprotected, and full of what they wanted. Governor Naro stood inside the control center, watching red warning lights flash across the command table. Buildings exploded in the distance. Communications were broken. There, defense turrets were gone. He had already lost contact with 2 other cities. He was out of time. "Send it," he ordered. "But sir," said his aide, "that beacon hasn't been used in over 100 years. We don't even know who." "I'd send it." The aide nodded, trembling. Her fingers danced across the screen. A panel opened from the wall. Inside, covered in dust, was a glowing black cube. She placed her hand on it. "Galactic beacon code 01X. Distress call. Priority 1. Broadcasting to all systems." A pulse shot from the cube, invisible to the eye, but powerful enough to cross the stars. The message was simple. "We need help. This is Varric 7. We are under attack. Anyone, please." Far above, beyond the edge of known space, something heard the call. Inside a system marked Terran Space, abandoned. A satellite blinked for the first time in centuries. Deep in the dark, old machines woke up. Silent black ships powered. Up, their hulls darker than the void around them. No words. No fanfare. No warning. They simply moved. Back on Varric 7, things got worse. The Varnik broke through the last shield wall. Giant insect-like machines crawled over buildings, firing plasma bolts. Civilians hid in tunnels or tried to escape in small crafts. Most didn't make it. Governor Naro sat in silence, knowing no one was coming. The major powers, the Galactic Council, the Therian Empire, the unified clans, had all ignored them. Varex was too small, too far, and not important. The aide spoke again, her voice shaking. "Sir, we just got something." Naro blinked. "A message?" "No, a ship." He rushed to the screen. A black triangle-shaped object had appeared in orbit. It didn't match any known design. It wasn't Varnuk. It wasn't Council. It had no lights, no signals. It was watching. Another ship appeared beside it. Then 2 more. No one hailed them. No words, no symbols. Just silence. "Do they respond to hails?" Naro asked. "No," she replied. "But sir, our system just received something. It's coordinates. Landing coordinates." The entire room went quiet. The Varnuk noticed too. Their ships turned toward the newcomers. A few small fighters rose to meet them. One got close to the black triangle. It vanished. No explosion. No fire. It simply blinked out of space, like it was never there. The Varnuk hesitated. Then a ship began to descend, slowly, quietly, toward Varex's main city. Governor Naro was there when it landed. It made no sound. It left no flame trail. The air shimmered around it as it touched the ground like a feather. A ramp opened. Out stepped a single nano, figure. Tall, human, wearing black armor with no markings. No weapons were visible, but something about him made every Varex soldier step back. His face was hidden behind a smooth helmet. His boots made no sound on the stone road. The crowd, what was left of it, stared in fear and hope. The governor stepped forward. You came to help us?" The figure did not reply. He looked around at the burning city, at the wounded, at the dead. Then he spoke. His voice was deep and calm. Who hurt you? The governor pointed toward the sky. The Varnock. There? Still, but the human was already walking away. He moved straight through the city gates, heading toward the Varnock lines. Alone. The aide watched the scanners inside the control room. He's approaching the enemy. 10 Varnock units moving toward him. 15. 20. They're surrounding him. The screen went dark. Connection lost. Outside, a blast of light erupted on the horizon. A wave of silence followed. Then the ground trembled. A single alert flashed on the screen. Unknown tech detected. Multiple hostiles neutralized. The aide whispered, "What is he?" Governor Naro looked at the sky, where more black ships now hovered silently. "Human," Naro said. "And I think we just remembered why the galaxy banned them." Asterisk. The battlefield had gone quiet. No one knew what just happened. One moment, the Varnock were charging the city's walls. The next, their units were gone. Not fallen, not retreated, just gone. Like the earth had swallowed them. Only dust and silence remained. From a hilltop near the ruins, the black-armored human stood alone. The light of fire danced behind him. But his armor was untouched, his body still, his hands still empty. Governor Naro watched through his command screen. His voice was low. He didn't even fire a weapon. The aide zoomed in on the scan. No energy discharge, no ballistic traces. JUST, something like gravity distortion. We don't even have a name for it. Behind them, the crowd in the bunker was growing. Survivors whispered. Children stared at the sky. They were all asking the same question. Is he a weapon? Or a savior? That night, more ships arrived. No lights, no noise. Only black halls that reflected nothing. They came in rows. Perfect formation, surrounding Vyrek 7 in orbit like a cage of shadows. There were no names on the ships, no symbols. Just a signal dot. It repeated in every language stored in galactic archives. Distress acknowledged. Assistance deployed. Earth has responded. The words hit harder than any explosion. Earth, Terran, deathworld. The species the Galactic Council had locked out. The race feared more than any warlord. The planet once considered too dangerous to govern. They were real. They were back. And they had answered the call. Inside the Varnock mothership, Commander Korra stood frozen. He had seen wars, burned worlds, and commanded fleets that destroyed entire moons. But this was different. Play it again, he said at the screen. Showed it one more time. The moment one human faced 30 Varnock warriors, and they all collapsed without a sound. Is it a weapon? His second asked. Korra shook his head. No, it's worse. It's control. He didn't fight. He decided. A message appeared on their console. From Earth Command, Wrath Protocol active. Korra blinked. They're not fighting us. They're judging us. Back on Varex, the human stood at the city's edge. An old alien woman approached him. Her hands shook, but her eyes burned with gratitude. Why did you come? She asked. The human didn't look at her. He watched the horizon. You called for help, he said quietly. No one answered, so we did. But why you? The story said Earth was gone. Closed off. He finally turned to her. We are not gone, he replied. We were watching, waiting, listening. He glanced at the burning Varnock wreckage. And when the screen was loud enough, we woke up. In space, the Terran fleet began to move. Didn't ask permission. One ship after another flew toward the Varnock sector, silent. Unstoppable. Every nation on the council began sending messages. Earth, stand down. This is not your war. This is an overreach of force. Earth didn't reply, because Earth didn't ask anymore. On the Rex, The people followed the human, not out of fear, but respect. They watched as he walked into the ruined enemy camp. He stopped at a fallen Varnock banner and tore it from the ground. Then, from his wrist, he projected a 3D map of the entire local star cluster. He pointed at 5 red systems, all under Varnock control. He said just one word, "Burn," and the sky obeyed. Back in the council chambers, panic began to rise. They had banished Earth long ago, believing they could never return. But Earth hadn't gone silent. It had gone still, like a blade waiting to be drawn again. A high-ranking official whispered, "Who reactivated them?" No one had the answer. But one thing was now clear. The deathworlders were back. The last scene showed the Terran soldier walking through Varex at dawn. He didn't smile. He didn't speak, but he stopped. Near a destroyed school, lifted a fallen beam, and placed a blanket over a shivering alien child. Not a word. Just action. Asterisk. The Varnock were not used to silence. They were conquerors, a race that roared when they entered a system and laughed as they tore it apart. For hundreds of years, their name brought fear across the stars. But now, they were quiet. 3 of their outer colonies had gone dark, not destroyed, erased. No signal, no resistance. Just empty space where cities used to be. In their war council, Commander Kura stared at the holomap. It showed a slow-moving wave, black dots swallowing red systems. "Terran warships," whispered one officer. "Moving in formation. Number. Broadcasts. No commands, just arrival." Another officer added, "We sent surrender codes. No reply." Kura turned away. He knew why. On Varex 7, the human was still there. The people didn't know his name. He never gave one. They just called him the Dark Walker. Wherever he stepped, the ground seemed to grow quiet. Even the wind paused around him, but he wasn't there to rule. He helped repair water lines. He cleared broken buildings. He gave no orders, only worked beside them in silence. Children followed him at a distance, whispering stories. One claimed he lifted a crashed ship with one hand. Another said he spoke to the stars. None of them were sure if he even slept. Inside the Varex command center, Governor Naro watched reports come in. Varnock military bases in Sector 4? Gone. Enemy fuel depots vanished overnight. Terran ships spotted near Thaxon system. Varnock forces retreating without a fight. Naro shook his head slowly. They're not fighting. They're teaching. The aide frowned. Teaching. What? Naro looked at the screen, at one black ship slowly orbiting a dead moon. That Earth never left. And that when they return, it's not for peace talks. In a hidden part of the galaxy, the council met in a secret communication chamber. Representatives of 5 major species argued in panic. They're breaking every treaty. They were banned for a reason. This is escalation if they keep going. No one is safe. An old alien leader spoke up, calm and slow. The humans warned us long ago. Do you remember their words? Silence, he quoted. If you fear what we are, do not call when the dark comes. But if you do, be ready for our full answer. Back on Varex, something changed. The sky rippled. Clouds parted without wind. Stars blinked unnaturally. Even the animals went still. The human in black looked up. A new Varnock fleet had arrived, desperate and angry. Not the conquerors from before, but cowards sent to make a final stand. Over 100 ships. They didn't wait. They opened fire on Varex. Immediately, energy bolts screamed toward the surface. But they never landed. The Terran fleet appeared instantly. Without any lights, sound, or energy, build dash up like ghosts. Each Varnock blast disappeared before reaching the ground. Some twisted away. Some turned to dust mid-air. One Varnock commander shouted, What kind of shield is this? But it wasn't a shield, Dot. It was something older. Something Terran. Something that didn't block force. It rewrote the space it entered. People of Varex watched from the rooftops. Dot. No one moved. They simply stared as the sky above turned into a quiet battlefield. The black Terran ships moved without error, smooth, slow, and perfect. Each one took out 5 enemy ships with a single shot. Precise, EMOTIONLESS. Dot. In less than 4 minutes, the Varnic fleet was gone. Dot. No debris. No crash. Nothing. Dot. Just silence again. Dot. In the ruins of the enemy command ship. The human stood among the ashes. Dot. No smoke touched his suit. No blood stained his boots. He reached down, pulled a metal badge from the rubble, and walked back to Varex. Placed it in front of the governor. The last Varnoke commander, he said. He won't answer again. Naro looked at him, stunned. How many of you are there? The human didn't answer, but from the sky, dozens of ships appeared. Not hundreds. Not thousands. Dot. Just enough. Children ran through the streets. The wounded were finally safe. Food stations reopened. Varex 7 was alive again. Dot. And still, the people knew. It wasn't over, because humanity had come. Dot. And humanity wasn't done yet. Asterisk, the Galactic Council had always believed in balanced. Rules. Treaties, controlled wars, formal peace, but Earth didn't believe in balance. Earth believed in justice, sharp, cold, and unstoppable. Now, the Council sat in panic. Across 3 sectors. The Varnak were falling, not just defeated, but erased. No records, no survivors, no ruins. Wherever Earth's deathworlder fleet arrived, silence followed. The Council's emergency chamber glowed with arguments. This is illegal. They were banished. They're acting without approval. An older voice cut through the noise. They didn't ask us. They never will. They don't need us. A single message from Earth had reached Council space, and it was only 2 words. You ignored them. Back on Varex 7, the dark-armored human walked through the rebuilding city. He said little, helped often, but no one dared question him. The people were no longer afraid. They were careful. They had seen the line between peace and wrath, and it wore a human face. The governor approached him with a datapad. A message from the Council, he said. They're asking Earth to attend peace talks. The human took the pad. Read it. Crushed it in one hand. No, he said. The governor blinked. But don't you want peace? We offered peace. The galaxy refused. In space, a council. Warship approached Varex orbit, flying under white flags and peace signals. Aboard was High Ambassador Valoon, respected, sharp-tongued, and arrogant. He came to calm the storm. He expected negotiation. He brought law, policy, and pride. He did not expect silence. The Terran fleet did not respond. No greetings, no scans. Just black ships, still and cold. Valoon sent a message. This is a diplomatic mission. I request safe landing and audience. He received a reply. Not words, not sound. A single Terran ship moved forward, turned, and aimed. Not at the council ship, but past it. A warning. Governor Naro was in the city square when the ambassador landed anyway. He came with guards, dressed in bright blue robes, full of confidence. I will speak to your Terran representative, Valoon. Sighed. He doesn't speak much, Naro replied. He'll speak to me. The human stood at the edge of the ruins, watching a group of orphans eat the bread he had just delivered. Valoon approached him, clearing his throat. Terran warrior, I am High Ambassador Valoon of the Galactic Council. I come in peace. They. Human said nothing. Valoon continued. Earth is acting without sanction. Your fleets have destroyed 3 systems. This is unacceptable. If you do not stand down, you risk galactic war. The human turned. For a long time, he said nothing. Then finally, war. Valoon straightened. Yes, if Earth refuses peace, we will be forced to unite against you. The human took one step closer. You're late. Valoon frowned. Late? The human pointed to the sky. Varex called for help. You did nothing. The Varnak came. You did nothing. We came. You're angry, Valoon replied. We must follow procedure. The human's voice was colder than space. We don't follow your procedure. We answer screams. Valoon raised his voice. This is madness. Earth cannot make war alone. The human leaned in close. We're not making war, he whispered. We're ending it. The ambassador returned to his ship, shaken as he lifted off. One of his guards whispered, Will they listen? Valoon stared at the Terran fleet below. No, they're not here to listen. They're here to remind the galaxy what we chose to. Forget. Far away, the Varnok homeworld finally responded. A message full of fear. We surrender. We will retreat. Please, stop. Earth responded with a single message. No. Because this wasn't revenge. It was correction. The Varnok had become monsters while the galaxy watched. While the Council stayed silent. While systems like Varex suffered alone. Now Earth was awake. And Earth didn't negotiate with monsters. Later that night, a group of Varex children approached the Terran warrior. One little girl tugged on his armor. Will you stay? She asked. He looked at her, really looked, and kneeled. No, he said gently. Others are still screaming. It didn't feel like a war. There were no long battles. No months of blood and waiting. No desperate retreats or hopeless defenses. When the Terran fleet moved, it was like the galaxy blinked, and systems were gone. One by one, clean, silent. Fast, the Varnok homeworld was protected by a defense network built over centuries. Orbital cannons, shielded moons, millions of soldiers. They expected Earth to arrive like others had, with announcements, positioning, threats. But Earth did not follow galactic rules. They arrived without a sound, and the war lasted just 7 minutes. Inside the Varnak command center, chaos took over. Shields are up. They're already inside the defense ring. How? We didn't detect entry. By the time they saw the black Terran ships, it was already over. One fired, and every cannon in orbit shut down. Another moved, and a quarter of the fleets. Power grid collapsed. The humans didn't destroy cities. They didn't bomb homes. They targeted military cores only and erased them with surgical silence. No explosions. No screams. Just DEACTIVATION. On Varix 7, news of the Varnok homeworlds. Fall arrived like thunder. Governor Naro sat with his aide, staring at the message. No resistance, she whispered. None? He asked. None. The fleet didn't even land. The systems just stopped. Outside, the dark-armored human walked through the remains of the Varnok forward camp. He had returned alone after destroying the final outpost. Now, he carried a box. Smooth metal and glowing faintly. The governor met him near the city gate. What's that? Naro asked. The human placed it on the ground. Proof. Naro opened the box carefully. Inside was a Varnik control device. Around it were small tags with alien names. The names of colonies destroyed, of cities burned, of children killed, each one logged by the Varnok as successfully purged. The human had kept the records. He didn't bring them for justice. He brought them as receipts. In the Council's high chamber. Silence ruled. Screens showed footage of Terran ships hovering over dead Varnok war zones, untouched, unchallenged. Single voice finally broke the silence. We should have stopped the Varnok. Another added, we should have answered the call. A third whispered, "We should have never ignored Earth." That same day, another council ship dared approach. The Terran fleet. This time, they came without pride. No robes, no demands. They sent a single message. "Earth, what do you want?" For the first time, the Terran fleet answered. "Nothing." Then they added one more line. "Remember this." And just like that, they began to leave. But before they vanished, the dark-armored human walked to the heart of Virex-7. He climbed the highest structure, a ruined beacon tower. There, he placed something in the center, a Terran symbol, made of metal and stone. Not a flag, not a warning, a reminder. Then he turned to the crowd. Below. He spoke loud enough for all to hear. "When you call, we will come. But if you wait too long," he looked at the ashes in the distance, "we won't come to save. We'll come to end." And then he was gone. No ship took him. No light carried him. One moment he stood there. The next, empty air. In the years that followed, Virex rebuilt. Children played in the streets again. Traders returned. Laughter returned. But the metal symbol stayed, untouched, and feared, because it was not just a Terran sign. It was a promise. Across the stars, the name of Earth rose again, not as a member of the Council, not as a superpower, but as something worse and more holy, a force, a final answer. The galaxy had many names for humans. Some called them survivors. Others called them monsters. A few whispered they were the children of chaos. But after what happened to the Varnoch, a new name began to spread, the face of judgment. And they had seen it. Up close, not in fleets or firestorms, but in the calm, still walk of a lone human in black armor, holding no weapon, yet leaving no enemy standing, on a broken moon near Varnoch space. A recording was found by scavengers. It showed the final minutes of the last Varnoch war captain. He stood inside a fortified bunker, speaking into a camera with sweat on his face and cracks in his voice. "This is my final message. Not because I surrender, but because I understand now. They are not angry. They are disappointed, and that is worse." Then came a sound, not of weapons. But of footsteps. The door behind him didn't explode. Opened. Slowly. The captain screamed. Then, nothing. On Virex-7. Children gathered around a campfire at night. One of them, a small boy with soot on his cheeks, held a wooden toy shaped like the black Terran ship. "They say he didn't even breathe heavy," he said. "They say he touched a ship and it just fell apart. They say he's not human. He's something older." The others listened with wide eyes. An old farmer nearby chuckled softly. "He's human, all right," he said. "That's what makes it worse." Governor Naro walked through the garden built near the fallen beacon tower. It was quiet now. Flowers had begun to bloom where ash once choked the ground. He stopped in front of the metal Terran emblem. Still, untouched. His aide stood beside him. "Do you think they're watching us?" Naro didn't answer right away. Then, "I think they always were. We just stopped watching back." Far away, in a secret council base, scientists gathered around data from the Varnoch campaign. One of them, a Farni from the Logic Caste, spoke nervously. "None of this makes sense," he said. "Their energy signatures don't follow known laws. Their weapons leave no trace. And they don't even speak." Another whispered, "Maybe they don't need to." The third tapped the table. "They call themselves deathworlders, but they act like ... judges." An older one finally spoke. "Not judges. Warnings." A month after the last Varnoch fortress vanished, Earth sent one final transmission. It wasn't encrypted, it wasn't hidden, it played across public channels. Across every station, every frequency. It showed a Terran general. No background, no emotion. She looked directly into the camera and spoke clearly. To the galaxy. You forgot what we are. We are not here to rule, not to control, not to lead. We are the storm that arrives when you break what should not be broken. We will come again, not to build, but to balance. Remember that before you send your next distress call. The screen went black. No logo. No anthem. Only silence. On the edges of the galaxy, smugglers spoke of black ships seen near old battlefields. Miners swore they saw Terran beacons hidden under moons. Some claimed Earth had built an entire shadow network across forgotten systems, not to fight, but to watch. They didn't want power. They wanted to make sure no one else abused it again. Back on Varric 7, a young girl knelt in front of the Terran symbol with a flower in her hand. She had never seen war, never seen the Dark Walker, only heard stories. She placed the flower gently at the base of the metal plate. Thank you, she whispered. The wind shifted, just a little, and no one saw the shadow that passed overhead. Asterisk. Time passed, the ruins of war faded. Grass grew where ash once lay. The fires were gone, but the story remained, not written in history books, but whispered in spaceports, drawn in dust by children, carved into stone by silent hands. If you ever hear silence after a screen run, because the humans are coming. On Varric 7, the metal Terran emblem still stood, untouched by time or weather. No one cleaned it. No one dared move it. It was no longer just a sign. It was a reminder to every generation. This is where Earth came, and this is what happens when you cry for help. And the galaxy stays silent. An old trader from another system once asked the governor, "Did you ever thank them?" Naro smiled. Quietly, "They don't want thanks. Then what do they want?" The governor stared at the sky. "They want us to remember why they came." Some said Earth returned to silence after the Varnock War. Others claimed Earth was never a place, but an idea, something hidden behind dark stars, moving only when needed. Some even believed that no single human controlled the fleet, that it moved on its own, a ghost of justice, a machine of memory. In the deep core of the galaxy, the Council built a statue. Tall, shining, beautiful. It showed a human figure standing tall in armor, but without a face, just a mirror in the helmet. A symbol. Because when you looked at it, you didn't see the warrior. You saw yourself, your choices, your silence, your failure to act. And the price that followed. In abandoned Varnic space, nature returned. Cities became forests. Roads became roots. But on some nights, travelers claimed they heard footsteps in the dark, heavy boots walking where no one should be. And every now and then, a ship would land on a distant moon and never return. No one searched. No one asked. Because they all knew some judgments don't end in fire. They end in silence. The children of Varric 7 grew up different, not weaker, not harder. Just wiser. They learned to listen before shouting, to protect before punishing, to answer before ignoring. Because they had seen what it cost to be forgotten and what it meant to be remembered by Earth. One quiet morning, a boy and his sister walked to the edge of the rebuilt city. The sister looked up and pointed. A black dot moved across the sky. "Is that one of theirs?" she whispered. The boy nodded. "Yes." "Will they come down?" The boy smiled. "Only if someone's in trouble." They watched as the dot disappeared behind the clouds. Neither spoke for a while. Then the boy added, "They don't come to rule. They come to end what others started." Across the galaxy, the legend spread. Not just a story of war, but a warning wrapped in truth. Whenever a planet sent a distress signal, they first looked over their shoulder, praying it was someone else who answered first. Because if Earth answered, it was already too late. Asterisk.